I think he's probably one of the most iconic, if not one of the best superheroes to ever exist. I mean, who else could single-handedly solve 440 different riddles in just the span of one game and not go crazy? Iron Man wouldn't even try, and Spider-Man would just swing home so he's not late for dinner with MJ. See, that's the thing with Batman. That's what makes him special, and maybe a little bit crazy. He's got no family waiting on him to come home for dinner, so he can just stay out as late as he wants, roaming around Gotham, solving riddles all night. In honor of the new Batman movie, I wanted to take a second to appreciate all the Batman that have come before the Battinson, because while I am really excited for this new interpretation of the Bat, I'm super stoked to see Robert Pattinson's dark and grounded, on the brink of insanity Batman. But if it weren't for all of those amazing actors that played the Bat before him and helped make it what it is in film today, we might still be stuck with the wonky black and white Batman, or worse, no Batman at all.
The city needs Bruce Wayne.
Christian Bale as Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy was my favorite Batman for so long. Christopher Nolan did such an amazing job birthing Batman into the grounded current day cinema, because while I love the goofy Batman and Robin movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger playing Dr. Freeze, I really love this grounded current day take Nolan took. He successfully built this entire world of Gotham and brought us into it with such an amazing story with arguably one of the best on-screen Batman villains ever with Heath Ledger's Joker. There's just so much to appreciate in the world of Batman. I wanted to rewind real quick just to see what got us all the way to this new dark Batman by Christopher Reeves. Welcome back everyone, it's Michael, or you can just call me Batman because that's my legal name now. We're going to be taking a look at the on-screen evolution this iconic character has taken as he's gone all the way from the crashes, bops, and bams to today's updated vengeful beast. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. We've got a great community here that loves to talk about all the same things that you love to talk about, so be sure to go down and hit that red button to join the community. We're going to jump right into it because there's a lot to talk about. I wanted to start off by mentioning the very first Batman, Lewis Wilson. He started playing the Caped Crusader in black and white all the way back in 1943. Wilson was also the youngest actor ever to play the role of Bruce Wayne at the age of only 23. Wilson had the honor of bringing Batman to screen just 4 years after DC Comics took off. Back then, instead of the Batmobile, the superhero traveled in a red sports car. Weird flex, but okay. Maybe he just hadn't fully embraced the color black yet. As monumental as Wilson's Batman was, he was critiqued for his physique and his thick Boston accent, which just wasn't what people envisioned what Batman was.
I have a nice little package for you.
But for all it's worth, Wilson will always be remembered as the first on-screen Batman. And only 7 years later, a guy named Robert Lowry picked up the cal in 1949 for Batman and Robin, where we finally get to see the boy wonder. Now, because Lowry was a much more experienced actor than Wilson, his portrayal of Batman was met with a lot of positive feedback, especially in terms of his appearance, because he definitely looked the part. However, his performance was still pretty underwhelming. But with his fighting sequences and a slightly more gritty portrayal of the hero, Lowry's Batman set the standard for what people wanted Batman to look like, making the process of hiring future actors a whole lot easier. Now, the first person that was Batman to me personally was Adam West in the Batman and Robin movie. West played Bruce Wayne from 1966 all the way through 1968 in the Batman television series, along with the amazing spin-off film. West's portrayal of the Caped Crusader was extremely clean-cut and PG-rated because the show and the movie were intended for the younger audiences. This Batman was definitely closer to the one in the comic book rather than being grounded in reality. West's character was responsible for the Bat-Tusi, a popular dance routine that was created for his TV show and went on to become popular all over the world. Adam West brought a lot of eccentricity to Batman and portrayed the hero in a delightful new light, which some people loved, and of course, some people absolutely hated because of how far it was from the actual concept of the hero. But West's over-the-top Batman went on to become an iconic figure in pop culture, with tons of cartoon spin-offs borrowing directly from the persona he had created for the Batman. And you know what else is crazy? Only 8% of you guys that watch the videos are subscribed. Shout out to the 8%, you guys are the best. And if you're part of the giant 90% that's not subscribed, what are you even doing? If you enjoy the videos and you want to support the channel so I can keep making more videos, all you gotta do is subscribe. Doesn't cost anything, but it helps me out a lot. I hope to see you guys in the next video because I've got some more fun ones coming soon, but more on that later. Now, probably one of the most important portrayals of Batman was by Michael Keaton. Due to my very sheltered childhood, unfortunately, I didn't know he played Batman until like 2 years ago. I know, I can't believe it either. His Batman in 1989 and its sequel, Batman Returns, still hold the reputation for being some of the best and most iconic Batman movies of all time. Initially, Keaton received some criticism when it was announced that he was going to be taking on the role of one of the most popular superheroes back in the day. The reason behind this was the fact that Michael Keaton was famously known for his roles in the comedy genre. That's what he did. He was a comedic actor.
It's showtime.
So no one really believed in his potential to take on the mantle of the Dark Knight, which is why this casting was one of the biggest gambles that the Batman franchise has ever made. But with his impeccable performance, Michael Keaton made sure that he goes down in history as one of the best live-action Batmans the world has ever seen. The actor was able to capture the intensity of Bruce Wayne and the lonely obsessiveness of Batman's character. Keaton brought this dry humor and wit to the character, which now has become the standard for how Batman was portrayed in cinema for a long time to come. After that, we got to see Val Kilmer attempt to take on the Cal, and at the time, tons of actors were being considered to carry on as the Guardian of Gotham, including big names like Johnny Depp. However, Val Kilmer managed to outshine them all and was casted for Batman Forever in 1995. Kilmer was also a much more kid-friendly version of the Batman. With Keaton's help, Batman on film was the hottest thing, and the big execs thought that would be the perfect time to cash in on some cartoon movies marketed towards children. Probably the farthest from what Batman Returns was like. They went from dark and grimy Penguin to bright and colorful cartoony villains. Kilmer's performance received mixed reviews, but Kilmer had already developed a reputation for being a difficult actor to work with, which is why his job as the Batman only lasted for so long. Next to replace Kilmer was another huge name, George Clooney. He played Batman all the way back in 1997 in the movie Batman and Robin.
That's a utility belt, not a money belt. $6 million.
$7 million.
This movie was received even worse than Kilmer's, receiving 11 nominations at the Razzie Awards, and it frequently ranks among the worst superhero films of all time. With ridiculously over-the-top costumes and bad direction, the movie was also the worst box office performer of all the Batman movies in modern times. However, that clearly didn't put a dampener on Clooney's career. He went on to do bigger and better things in no time. But I think this is the next biggest turn for Batman since Keaton. Christopher Nolan revived this hero's career on the big screen with none other than the amazing method actor Christian Bale to play the Bat. Nolan practically reinvented Batman's image, putting a lot of emphasis on the dark side of the Dark Knight.
Speaking of which, you know how I got these scars?
No, but I know how you got these.
I love the dark tones Keaton's Batman had, and it was just such a shame to have the setback between Kilmer and Clooney's Batmans before he could pick back up on the right track. Bale and Nolan's Batman trilogy kicked off in 2005 with Batman Begins, which proved his acting abilities were more than enough to carry this character. And as the trilogy progressed on with The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, Bale managed to capture the complexity of Batman, portraying everything from his childhood trauma to his battle against his most iconic nemesis, the Joker. Heath Ledger, not to mention, delivered a legendary performance that helped the Batman build the character that makes him who he is. Bane was an amazing adversary in the next film, but Bale really just proved that more could be done with Batman than what we had already seen. And then out of nowhere, Ben Affleck comes into the picture, being announced to play Batman in Zack Snyder's Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. People believe that with all the list of flops that Affleck had under his belt, he just wasn't going to do justice to the brooding superhero. However, when the movie was released, Affleck had one of the strongest performances. He really was a Batman different from the last huge Batman that we grew to know and love. He was also Batman in the Suicide Squad, as well as the two Justice League iterations. He portrayed the character as a true anti-hero. Exactly how his story demanded. Affleck's Batman was a little short-lived, but he definitely made his mark in the pool of Batman performances. And then technically, I guess this counts, Will Arnett became one of the most unconventional Batman this world has ever seen, as he was the first Lego Batman, but it's still definitely one of the most memorable portrayals of the hero. Who would have thought? He was literally born with the voice to play this hero.
I'm Batman.
Will Arnett voiced Batman in the 2013 film The Lego Movie, which was a major blockbuster, earning the actor tons of praise for his dramatic yet still very humorous portrayal of the Dark Knight in Lego form. Arnett's performance was so fresh and different that he landed his own spin-off movie as an aftermath of the success of the Lego Movie. Will Arnett's Batman really bridged the gap between the younger and older audiences, giving us a hilarious parody of the otherwise dark hero. And before we get to the next one, I really just want to take a second for this honorable mention. Yes, I'm talking about the one and the only, the legend Kevin Conroy. Conroy is the voice behind Batman in the animated series, the New Batman Adventures, Batman Beyond, and of course, Justice League. To many, he's what people hear in their head when they think of Batman. Conroy is remembered for being the first voice actor to use distinct voices to portray Bruce Wayne versus Batman. He's the one that brought that to the big screen. This helped add that layer of drama and mystery to the DC cartoon series. Conroy also has the honor of playing Batman for longer in any live action or animated franchise, along with voicing the character in a number of official video games for the Batman series. Recently, Conroy has had the chance to finally don the role of Batman in live action for the very first time. This happened in the Arrowverse crossover of the CW's Batwoman TV show. I think it was so awesome to let him finally get this, bringing his journey as the Bat full circle. Such a legend. Next is partially another honorable mention, David Mazouz, as he only technically played Batman for a few seconds at the end of the last episode of the CW show Gotham, but that's not to take away anything from this young actor's performance as Bruce Wayne. He was so young when he started this show compared to when we saw him at the very end. We literally got to watch Bruce Wayne grow up, and I loved it. He went through all the trials that young Bruce went through that eventually helped him don the cowl and work with Jim Gordon and Selina Kyle. Not to mention, we got a lot of awesome Bruce and Alfred screen time with that show. And this brings us to our last and final entry to the series, Twilight heartthrob Robert Pattinson. Who would have thought, right? After watching Edward Cullen be a vampire for 5 movies in the Twilight series, the last thing I would expect him to do next is become the freaking Batman. And that's probably one of the biggest reasons everyone was so skeptical of this choice. We were all left in the void on this until they released the first teaser for his movie titled The Batman, where everyone and their mothers' jaws dropped. Just the final scene of him beating the absolute crap out of one of Gotham's everyday thugs, only to continue pummeling him into the ground, just erased every doubt in our minds that he will do just fine at playing the Bat. I actually did a full review on the movie. If you want to go check it out, I'll put a link at the end of the video if you want to hear all of my thoughts on it. But personally, I thought Robert Pattinson did a great job with the character. I think the biggest accomplishment here with this Batman was doing something different than all the previous ones before it. This Batman felt so dark and defeated and demented and really struggling, like he was on the brink of insanity. There was no one or anything that could get in his way and stop him from trying to save Gotham and carry on his father's legacy. Along with the different tone this movie took than all the movies before it, it also brought a lot of light to some of the mystery solving aspects of crime scenes that we haven't really got a lot of in previous Batman movies. This was probably the most Batman movie in relation to the comics. I really love that the PG-13 rating this movie had didn't hold the movie back from being brutal and gritty and grounded like a real life Batman would be. I was thoroughly impressed with this Batman, but who's to say who the best Batman of all time is? I think that might be for another video. Go down to the comments right now and tell me who you think the best Batman is. I'm curious. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'll have another one out soon. So until then, I will see you in the comments. Peace.